Queenslink is good, actually. Like, you literally can't go wrong with this. This will deliver Queens' first circumferential service, paralleling overcrowded bus lines on Woodhaven and Lefferts Boulevard. Simultaneously, it will cut Rockaway and South Queens trip times by more than 15 minutes one way. Not to mention, it will deliver more trains down to the Rockaways and QBL, and also new park space. And unfortunately, for a while, things were not going well for Queenslink. I mean, you had the Metropolitan Hub announcement in 2022 that blocks where Queenslink wants to start construction. You had the delusional 2024 announcement of sending 96% of all funds allocated to New York City from the Reconnecting Communities Fund to Queensway. Like, I am genuinely confused on what the logic is for that. But what do I expect from Kirsten Gillibrand, who doesn't even understand how trains work? Anyway, things are looking up for Queenslink in 2025. You had the $400,000 in grants from the federal government to Queenslink. While that ended up being frozen, more than $100,000 was donated to Queenslink for a brand new independent study, thanks to the work of the Flying Moose and City Nerd. Combined with the state legislature pumping in $100,000, that seemed to be enough. Not to mention Resolution 59 has been passed in the city council, affirming even more support for the project. There's also the Democratic mayoral primary, where Mamdani won against Cuomo. Mamdani is a staunch Queenslink supporter, while Cuomo was a massive Queensway booster while as governor. There's also a huge amount of community support for Queenslink. A few days ago, there was a massive Queenslink rally, organized by NYPIRG. They were rallying in support of a new report, detailing student voices for the project. My friend Scott at Urban Man was able to record the entire rally, and he was generous enough to share the entire footage with me. So go subscribe to him and watch his videos. Anyway, to illustrate the community support, you have to remember the MTA sandbagged the report twice against Queenslink. When that happens to any idea, it usually gets shelved and withers out of public consciousness. The fact that Queenslink is still going strong, raking in $100,000 in donations and securing another $100,000 from state funding, and having good turnout for rallies, despite not really having a political titan like the governor or mayor, should really tell you all you need to know about what the public thinks of Queenslink. And we are hopefully about to get that political titan in the mayor's mansion. So, as of July of 2025, what is the future of Queenslink? If we can get Zora Mamdani to Gracie Mansion, the future of Queenslink would be extremely bright. One of the biggest hurdles to Queenslink was the lack of a political titan. Like, don't get me wrong, local politicians like James Sanders Jr., Stacey Amato, Bob Holden, and Sylvana Brooks Powers are extremely strong supporters, and have flexed their power whenever they can. But it wasn't enough to counteract Queensway, and I don't blame them for that, given the mayor has a ton more power. But if Mamdani, a staunch Queenslink supporter, wins the general election, what this means is that we finally have someone that has a lot of power to push Queenslink forward. If that happens, I hope Mamdani translates his support into concrete action. And I think that might happen. Jumaane Williams, who is the public advocate, the functional vice mayor of the city, and also a Mamdani ally, is also a very staunch Queenslink supporter. Like the local politicians above, he tried to flex his power for Queenslink whenever he could. Whether it be showing up or sending representatives to Queenslink rallies, or creating a report detailing the need for Queenslink, Williams has been a staunch supporter since the beginning. I hope Jumaane Williams gets into the ear of Mamdani, and that action needs to be taken now. Why now? You have to remember, the Walmart High Line is in the planning stage, namely, the first part, the part that will block construction of the future tunnels of Queenslink. And if all goes well for Queensway, we might be looking at construction in the next year or two. We cannot let this happen, and with this part of Queensway being a city project, I hope Mamdani flexes his power and cancels it. Redirect that funding towards an environmental review for Queenslink, which is like the final stage needed for any construction project to move forward. This will also give us a clearer picture of what ridership and the costs are like, as the previous two studies used questionable metrics to achieve those numbers. You cannot tell me that soft cost of Queenslink is 77% of the entire project, when your most bloated soft cost project, 2nd Avenue Phase 1, is 33%. And if Mamdani needs the city council, remember, the city council is already very supportive of Queenslink. But that is at the minimum. What I want is for Mamdani to get the entire Queenslink project, from Rego Park to Ozone Park, into the 2030 to 2034 capital plan. And if funding is an issue, work creatively with what you got. What do you have near the Rockaway Beach Branch? These giant parking lots. upzone this entire area, build mid-rises here, and tax the growth, or the projected growth, of these neighborhoods. That revenue can then go towards funding Queenslink. This isn't a radical idea. Then Mayor Bloomberg did this to extend a 7 to Hudson Yards. All in all, the future of Queenslink is looking a lot brighter than in the subsequent years. And if Mamdani wins the general election in November, the future of Queenslink will be as bright as it ever will be. But that doesn't mean the work for Queenslink is over. In fact, if Mamdani gets elected, we should be working even harder to get Queenslink over the finish line. Because with how volatile the political climate is, I don't know when the next opportunity like this will occur for Queenslink. So let's keep fighting. Build a Queenslink, and absolutely no way with Queensway.